It's Wednesday, so it's favorite find time, and there's a lot of noise going on, so I'm sorry about that. But today's favorite find, this medal that was presented to attendees of the 11th annual American Legion National Conference in Louisville, Kentucky, and it happened from September 30th to October 3rd of 1929. And on the back of it, it's got old Man of War there. Anyway, here's the video from when I found it, and then we'll talk about how cool this particular medal really is. Some kind of watch fob, I think. Get that cleaned up, see what it is. Cool. Now clearly when I first found it, I thought it was a watch fob, and you know what, to be quite honest, it probably could have been used as one over the years, but it sent me down a rabbit hole of determining the history of what it was. Well, the American Legion keeps pretty good records, and if you go to their website, which I'll put in the description, you can see the flyer from the event, and it's got all kinds of advertisements in it. You know, Coca-Cola advertised in it. There was a cab company for Louisville that advertised in it, and that advertisement was sort of like, in Paris you rode in a ramshackled bus and it cost beaucoup francs, and in Louisville you went 2 miles for 25 cents and 4 could ride for the same price as 1, you know. I love those ads. Now I'm sure I probably didn't get it just right, but it was close enough. And it was crazy. Every day was jam-packed. I'm talking like they were up early and they went late, and it was like breakout stuff every 30 minutes and everything on the hour. It'd be like 10 o'clock, there might be 3 different meetings, so you had to pick one every single day. And on one of the days they went to Churchill Downs. I'm assuming that's why they got Man of War on the back. To be quite honest though, during that time period, Man of War was very popular. Sorry, my leg itches. But anyway, Man of War was being used in tons of different advertisements. In a lot of ways it was a source of national pride. It's a horse. Went on to sire other race horses. Whatever. I could never get into it. Race horses, that is. Probably because I grew up poor. We grow up poor, you don't think about race horses. Okay, that's probably why I hunt for treasure, because, well, rich people aren't going to dig in the ground for a quarter. I assume. So, whatever. Anyway, it's an amazing document. And to think about the fact that someone in Charlotte went to Louisville, they went to this event, they were presented this medal, they came back here with their precious medal and lost it. Their little keepsake from the 11th annual American Legion National Conference fell into the ground and was absorbed by the earth. Only for me to find it 95 years later, because I found it in 2024. June 16th of 2024 to be exact. And it was like the only thing I found at this yard. I mean, I found some change, but I found that. Now, what's interesting, or I think is interesting, is a lot of times people will attribute all this history to something they find, you know. They'll be like, someone lost this, XYZ. I want you to remember, this is very important to me. Always think critically when watching detecting videos, some of these faux archaeology videos. I'm sure you've seen them, like Archaeolog, where it's like they find and I'm calling them out because it's trash, but they'll find like a clay pot and they'll bust it open, there'll be like a bunch of gold coins in it. That's not real. And look, it's human nature for people to want to like assign a story to something, you know. I see it a lot with like Civil War stuff. A soldier dropped this musket ball. Well, you really don't know that. or they dropped this mini ball. It could have happened years after the war. I mean, those rifles were continually being used for years after the war. People were hunting with them. Remember that. Now, you know, if you find like a pit and it's full of that stuff, chances are you probably figure that one out. But just the one-off, you never know. It's nice to think, you know, come up with a story, but you never really know. So remember that when you watch videos, because it's just human nature for people to want to assign a story to things. But unless you can track down and prove it, or unless you were there, you'll never really know. And like in the case of this medal, the only thing that I do know is that it was awarded in Kentucky and it was lost on the west side of Charlotte. And the American Legion keeps good records and had some crazy advertisement and look, whoever was doing those meetings, it was too much. If you ever go to like a conference these days and you think it's like a lot going on, I'm going to put a link to the American Legion website to this particular thing in the description. If you want to go look at this flyer, you'll be amazed what was going on. And check out some of the advertisements from 1929. One thing to remember is that about a month later, after this conference happened, the stock market crashed and America entered, and the world entered, the Great Depression. So in a lot of ways, this was like one last big hurrah event before it was a bad place. It was a very bad time. So anyway, cool history. I enjoy it. Definitely one of my favorite finds. As always, if you email me at igetthattreasure@gmail.com, I'll email you I'll mail you any stickers or swag that I have at the time. It was almost a wreck because I'm standing outside. There's a busy street. As you can see, the cars. Anyway, like I said, I'll mail you some stickers or whatever swag I have at the time. If you get out this week, I hope you get that treasure. And this Friday will be my last walk and talk before I head to England. So you probably want to check that out. Got some updates about that. I won't go into it now because it's a favorite finds video. But yeah, I hope you get that treasure, and thank you so much for watching.